Well, later today we'll pass the first balanced budget since, I believe, 2001. And once that is complete, we'll go back to the Iran bill. We're still hoping there's a way forward that will give some of our members an opportunity to have votes on some of their amendments. But we anticipate finishing the Iran bill very soon. And then we're going to move to Trade Promotion Authority. I know there's been some question raised about what's next. That's the responsibility of the majority, and we'll be going to Trade Promotion Authority next. Also, must-do items before Memorial Day. We clearly have to do an extension on highways and FISA before we leave for Memorial Day. So that's the agenda that lies ahead for us.
Well, as we've been discussing, we've had a pretty good run of productivity here during the 114th Congress. Democrats and Republicans have participated in the process, and we've passed some important legislation beginning to take the small steps back to a functioning Senate. So it was particularly disappointing to see that the minority leader, Senator Reid, saying that basically he was going to block one of the president's main priorities for this Congress, which is to pass Trade Promotion Authority and take up then and consider the Trans-Pacific Partnership trade deal. I hope the White House will continue to press forward on the president's priorities. It happens to be one that most of us agree with, but it would be a shame to see the Democratic leader take the Senate back down this road of dysfunction that was rejected in the election on November 4th.
As the leader said, today we're going to pass the first balanced budget around here in nearly a decade and a half. That is a pretty big deal. In fact, the last time Congress passed a balanced budget was 2001, and that was the year that Apple released its very first iPod, if you mark time. And too often around here the attitude has been spend now and pay later. And that's gotten us $18.2 trillion in debt. $7.5 trillion, I might add, has been added since this president took office. That is unsustainable. It's got to change. The American people expect their Congress and their government to do the very thing that they have to do, and that's to live within its means. And so this budget, although it's not perfect, starts us in a right direction, in a direction toward fiscal responsibility, something that has been long overdue around here. And so I'm pleased that we're going to have a vote today and for the first time in a decade and a half pass a balanced budget in the United States Congress.
Well, the President and Democrats continue to speak in glowing terms about the President's health care law, to the point that last week Harry Reid in the Senate said it was a smashing success. Well, it seems to me that the Democrats are either not listening to the people at home or are trying to mislead them, because a report came out from emergency room doctors just this past week that said the emergency rooms all across the country are being swamped with patients. And a lot of this has to do with the President's health care law putting more people onto Medicaid, and it's very hard for people on Medicaid, a broken health care system, to actually get to see a doctor. So the 2,000 doctors who work in emergency rooms who were questioned have said there's been a surge in ER visits, and it's making it very difficult to take care of patients who are true emergencies. Now remember, the President, in the run-up to the votes on the law, when the law was being passed, and even afterwards, have said as more people get their insurance, their coverage, and their Medicaid, that they wouldn't need to go to the emergency room. And actually, what we're seeing is that's not the truth. Because coverage does not equal care. Emergency room doctors are telling us across the country that it's adding to the wait times and adding to mortality with all of these people going to the emergency room since the mandates went into place in 2014. Republicans are going to continue to work on programs so people can get the care they need from a doctor they choose at lower cost.
Well, it's worth re-mentioning that first balanced budget since 2001, but it's the first unified budget, the first budget that the House and Senate have agreed to since the first year President Obama was president, 2009. 6 years without a budget. There's that old adage, if you If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And if you look at what happened all 6 of those years after we didn't have a budget, the appropriations bills never come to the floor in any kind of order, 1 or 2 at a time at the most, and then some big bill at the end that doesn't get debated. Hopefully, this is a step back in the right direction of government that's working again. 6 years of a totally dysfunctional Senate when it came to the point of how we spend people's money, how we open up this process, how we lay out a plan that gives us a chance to get somewhere. That's going to happen today.
The passage of the budget today is a significant and substantive achievement. It would not have been possible had this new Republican majority in the Senate taken the path that we have for the last 8 years in the Senate. Instead, the new Republican majority came in, opened up the process, exhibited a determination to return to regular order. And so we have a major achievement today, and I want to mention 3 things about it. Number one, it aspires to a balanced budget in 10 years. Now, whether we get there or not will depend a lot on what the voters decide in next year's presidential election and in the Senate and House races. But as compared to the President of the United States, who decided not even to try for a balanced budget, our budget that we will enact today aspires to come to balance in 10 years. And if it's anything like what happened in the mid-90s, when the House and Senate passed a balanced budget plan, if people believe in it and if the economy gets going, we can get to a balanced budget sooner than that. So that's one thing. Secondly, it absolutely gives us hard and fast budget caps for our discretionary appropriation bills going forward for the rest of this year. We will abide by the caps that we enact this afternoon, and that is a significant achievement that we have not had before, and then it gives us absolutely a path to a reconciliation bill to change the Affordable Health Care Act into something that works with market principles and provides better choices and better health care for the American people. So a significant milestone because we opened up the process, and 3 major overarching achievements in this balanced budget today.
Senator McConnell, what's your plan for moving forward on the Iran bill?
Very quickly, yeah.
But how to get an agreement?
Yeah, well, as I indicated, we're trying to get a few more amendments, but we're going to move quickly and then turn to Trade Promotion Authority. And at the risk of having some of you literally faint, I want to compliment the President for the way he's handling the trade issue. I thought what he did last year in speaking the truth to his base was welcome and shows that he is intent on working with us to get both the Trade Promotion Authority in place and to subsequently approve, hopefully, a Trans-Pacific Partnership deal.
Trade bills that were passed out of the Finance Committee, would that be as one package or sequentially?
Yeah, I haven't made any decision on any of that.
Are you confident you have 60 votes to move on TPA?
Well, we sure hope so. We're working it hard, and it's been almost an out-of-body experience, but we've been working closely with the White House, and we agree on this, and we're working together to try to get it across the finish line.
Leader McConnell, if you don't have an agreement on amendments by the end of the day, do you file cloture on the Iran bill by the end of the day?
You know, I don't know how many times you guys want to ask the same question, but we're going to move forward on Iran very quickly.
Senator McConnell, what do you plan to give the USA Freedom Act approval, especially if it passes the House next week? The NSA reform bill?
Well, you know, given the time constraints we have to do something on FISA before the end of the month. I think most likely the outcome is some kind of extension. Chairman Burr and I consulted, and we agreed that the underlying bill would be a simple extension, but it will be open for amendment whenever we're able to really fully turn to it. The question is whether we can do all that between now and Memorial Day, and I can't tell you right now.
But that means, Senator, that you will not use
using the House bill as the base bill for the debate over here.
Yeah, what I've said is we're going to try to do something to avoid expiration at the end of the month. Exactly how that plays out will be determined in part by how much time is left to achieve it. Thanks a lot.
Do you allow amendments on TPA?